Yeah, so we're just gonna wait for Simon before we begin. But I have one question. Mark, you have seen Jason Michael, right?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, you don't even know if you won?
No, I don't know.
Oh my god.
You didn't even watch the reaction. Damn, that's how it is.
Did I? Dude, it's been a very busy week for me. I won't
know,
say
I'm
that.
just messing with you. I'm messing with you. You won, by the way.
Yes.
You're not available and everyone's becking Paul. Oh.
Yeah, so anyways,
No, I started to watch the start of it, and then I got busy at work. Like, oh, I'll get back to it, and I just never did. So, Tenton, fill a very stupid person in. What is this death battle? Who are the combatants?
Okay, it is Sauron from Lord of the Rings versus the Lich King from World of Warcraft.
This is including the novels, right?
This is with novels.
I've heard this fight is close. I'm not sure.
It's, from what I've seen research-wise, it just depends on what death battle buys. Honestly,
Yeah, it's stat. It depends on stats because they both resist mind control.
yeah.
Yeah, Sauron has a true form, which
True form's not standard.
It's not. I thought it
No,
was.
he only has it at the start of his journey. He loses it.
That true form Sauron would just kill Arthas, but
Oh no, if he gets his true form, it's literally not even a debate. No, he definitely would win. But he's not. It's not standard because it's him at the start of his journey and he loses all of it.
I could have sworn in the book that Sauron did have a body.
Yeah, he gets a physical form. He absolutely does. I know that for a fact.
he has multiple forms.
Because at the final, because I think the final battle was him and Aragorn going at it.
Yeah, he has a physical form. His only confirmed weapon he ever uses, like just as a physical weapon, is some type of mace. He's more of a mage than he is a physical fighter. The most contentious thing I saw was apparently he broke some weapon that is claimed to have the power of a sun or something.
He did novels, yes.
Yeah, that's the most contentious claim. I honestly would label it as an outlier, just in general, because it kind of doesn't reflect his normal level of power, which is, based on what I saw, somewhere from like small country to continent. It was like the novel offhand mentioned, oh, he shook all of Mordor when he did something or whatever.
If I'm going by the notes here, I'm looking at like the weaknesses and kind of like comparing them. I have a feeling that if Sauron really is as narcissistic as he could be, that might be like definitely would be a crack in the armor if like the Lich King could take advantage of that.
Yeah. The writer of the Lord of the Rings novels specifically describes Sauron as the definition of what an evil human being could be at their peak.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has a big, like, lifespan history.
Yeah. As one advantage he definitely has, he's infinitely older. Like, the Lich is, I think, not even 100 years old, while Sauron's a couple millennia.
Yeah.
So he's got an experience advantage.
Yeah, this fight just really depends on what the Bell scales him to. It's like somewhat similar to Trunk Silver, but there was more concrete evidence for their scaling.
I generally hear that Lich King is more consistent with scaling.
Does the Lich King have an army?
Yes, they both Lich King and Sauron have armies. Yes.
It's likely they'll both summon their full armies for this.
Anything that Arthas kills or his army kills, Arthas can just bring that back to life and make it join his army.
So he's like the Night King.
Yeah. Another thing, when the Lich kills something, he can get stronger from it, and he can also absorb their souls for healing.
That's useful for a bunch of orcs, for killing a bunch of orcs.
I guess that only assumes like if they actually use the armies as part of the fight itself.
I think it'll be part of like the animation.
It definitely will be, yeah. To be fair, Sauron's more of a manipulator than he is a fighter, so I could definitely see him summoning the whole army.
Gaslighter.
He's a gaslighter.
Oh, Lord.
They also both have dragons.
Since if the Lich King like destroys the ring.
Sauron dies.
If the ring is not on Sauron, he basically is powerless.
The only way it can be destroyed is it actually being thrown into Mount Doom, too. Like, it's a specific spot.
Yeah, it's a specific mountain, and Arthas doesn't have that.
If he can just separate it from him, I would do it.
Yeah, if he get it off of his hand, then yeah, he can kill Sauron.
The connection of the fight is they both have like their main like item or weapon corrupts people and does that, and so they both perfectly can't be corrupted by each other, so it's not really a factor.
yeah, those items aren't really effective. Their items resist one another.
I was gonna say, then it kind of comes down to like personal performance, then, like in a fight.
And in terms of pure like combat that we've seen out of them, the Lich has more to examine because he's also just more of a combat character in general. Sauron can survive as just his soul, though the Lich King's sword eats souls. That probably won't go well for him if the ring's removed. Another thing is Sauron can turn intangible, but the Lich King's sword can hurt ghosts, so that also wouldn't work. Sauron has a bunch of different like magic. He can shapeshift, control fire, invoke fear, he can do illusions. They both have regeneration. Lich King's is better, but you know, semantics.
Even though the ring contains like his, you know, his will and his dominance and stuff like that is still an essence of him.
Yes, but death battle again. Like for example, Raiden versus Thor. Does Raiden reincarnate and will come back even if he's killed? Yes. Does Thor still throwing him into the sun and defeating him still count as a victory? Yes. The thing of if a character can't be put down by conventional means, if they could be incapacitated indefinitely, or just like something like that. So if the Lich King was to like essentially cut the ring off his hand and like Sauron turns to dust, it would count as a victory. Because one, the Lich can't be corrupted, so Sauron can't take control of him. So essentially Lich would just have a cool ring that doesn't do anything to him.
And that's even assuming the Lich King even gets his hands on the ring.
Yeah, even assuming he gets his hands on it, it wouldn't corrupt him because the sword would prevent it. So essentially it would just be, well, Sauron's just kind of gone, so the Lich King wins.
So what would you say Sauron's best defense against the Lich King to make sure that he doesn't get the ring?
Best option for him. It all depends on what Death Battle buys in terms of stats. Because in terms of the highest they can be scaled, Lich has higher. But in terms of experience and tactics, Sauron has him beat. So if they give them similar enough stats, let's just say for a fact let's just say they're even. Let's say their strength, speed, and durability is even. Sauron would win because he has more experience and he's a better tactician. The best thing I can say for Lich is his scaling is easier to quantify because essentially he beat all of the heroes of whatever the frick it's called, I forget its name, Azeroth or something. And them collectively were able to beat one of the old gods of World of Warcraft that was able to create a fourth dimensional space. You could maybe get them both to Universal, but Lich's is more impressive. Yeah, I'm more leaning towards small country or like
I'd
maybe
say...
like continent. I'll give him that because there's more concrete stuff for that. But like Universal Sauron is contentious as he never actually demonstrates that level of power.
Yeah, but it's novel, so you can't really blame it.
I mean, okay, you can. Well, yes, you can. You can have a character say, and then he blew up a planet. You can be blatant in a novel too, and they never do. So that's why I'm less willing to give it to Sauron.
Yeah. I'd say he's around unit.
Yeah, I don't personally scale him that high. I don't think he sits there. With all this being said, yeah, I think we've covered it fairly well. Do we want to give our final thoughts on who we're rooting for?
Sure. I'll go first. I'll keep it real short and simple. You know me, guys. I like it real quick. Get right to it. The Lich King has, in my opinion, he has more strength. He doesn't have as many weaknesses, in my opinion, as Sauron has. I mean, I think my guess, locking it in, Lich King, 2 for 2. Let's go.
Okay. I'll go next. I'm gonna be totally honest. I have no idea who's gonna win.
Are you just waiting until they reveal the stats in the episode,
Yeah,
Simon?
I haven't.
That's an option.
That's an option. You don't have to guess now if you don't want to. I just do it for fun.
I haven't done this since like last season. I forgot what match it was. I have no idea. This is mainly because I don't know enough about Lich King to confidently say he wins, but from what I can tell, they both have similar speed and they both have somewhat similar stats. It depends on what Death Battle buys, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be in the middle for now. I'll just wait until the end of down.
Yeah. I'll go next if you want. Okay. With this one, in terms of how Death Battle generally handles things, they generally go with what's more concrete and easier to, like, justify, like with Archie Silver. As Archie's comics are absurdly blatant with their level of power for their characters. World of Warcraft is more blatant in the fact that the Lich King should be universal. While Sauron, it is 2 claims. as far as I am aware. And like their claims of like, oh, the power of a sun. Sure, you never demonstrate that you can actually do this. It is an offhanded claim for a character that rarely fights, and a character that's generally more about manipulation. That being said, it's also easier for the Lich to potentially kill Sauron than it is for Sauron to kill the Lich, assuming their stats are even. And like, an intelligence and experience advantage is great, but it only goes so far if your opponent has likely has higher stats than you. That and the Lich has perfect counters to some of Sauron's more trickier like options. And the Lich King's only real weakness is holy magic, which Sauron doesn't have, so that won't really be a fear for him. And sure, the Lich King can be a little bit adventurous when it comes to him. Like, he's willing to put himself in a bad situation just to make his foe's defeat more, like, devastating. But, like, even then, he's in a situation where I think he can be as risky as he wants, and it won't really be an issue for him. Because if he gets hurt, his sword can just heal him, and he can just heal from just killing random orcs if they do with the army battle. So ultimately, I think I'll go with the Lich.
Nice, good. I like that.
Okay, from what I heard and what I know, I agree with Tenton. Think the Lich King is gonna take this win.
All right, short, simple, and to the point. I respect that. All right, which one of you P people are going? Plumber or Paul? Which one?
Let's solve this, Paul. I know how to solve this. We're gonna trust each other. We're gonna do rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Mario, if you don't go right now, I'll get the coin.
Okay, fine. So honestly, yeah. Hello there,
Hi,
Raiders.
Hello, Vegeta.
It is I, Prince Vegeta. You left me with Thor, you stupid panda, but I'm back.
Good for you.
I am here to express my opinion. I think the Lich King will win, and that is my solid opinion. I will now go and beat my son senselessly for losing to the hedgehog. Goodbye.
Well then.
That's a tough act to follow, huh, Paul?
All right. Well, okay. So judging by everything that we've discussed here, like, sure, maybe there's some things that Death Battle might bring to light that might not have been covered, but it does seem like we have a pretty solid basis overall. And judging by everything I've heard and read and all our discussions here, my brain is definitely leaning towards the Lich King. I mean, there are a lot, like, even if experience versus strength is its own, like, discussion, you bring up a good point that the Lich King just has a lot of tools that Sauron would definitely have a struggle against. And even if, like, Sauron's experience and Lich King's strengths are at a deadlock, that might even be enough to give him an edge over Sauron. But even with that said, on a personal note, even though my brain thinks the Lich King's going to win, my heart still wants Sauron to win.
All right. So your brain's telling you Lich, but your heart's telling you Sauron?
My heart will always choose Sauron.
All right, so you're going Sauron it is then. Good for you. I can
He's become the mark of the group.
No, listen, I understand that. If you love a character, you want to see him win. That was me with Silver. I like Silver. I wanted to see him beat Trunks, mostly because it would be hilarious. You never know. Well, with that being said, bye YouTube. We did the thing.
Vegeta destroyed my balls. They're no longer there.
I didn't need to know that. On that note,
All right.
I'm going to go throw
I need
Mario
medical
under
attention.
a bridge. Goodbye,
I'm
everyone.
bleeding. Help. Help
Goodbye.
me. I'm dying.
What is happening?
Good question. To answer that question, I'm going to click the stop record button.